big welcome to October Gallery, and I'm so happy to see you here. I know it is a major effort today to go anywhere. And so thank you and welcome here. A special welcome to Jukhee Kwon for her beautiful work. Jukhee is from South Korea, but lives and works outside of Rome, and has made all these beautiful pieces in her beautiful place. William Burroughs developed and popularized the cut-up technique, cutting up sentences and rearranging them to reveal other meanings, a shamanic activity. He said, when you cut into the present, the future leaks out. Jukhee produces alchemical transformation by releasing energy from the pages of a book, enabling them to tell another story. She says, when their outmoded attributes are woven together with contemporary associations, they become mysterious objects, connecting past and present in a vehicle heading for an unknown future.
Hi, so in my computer archives, my Outlook archives, I dug out a message that was written to me back in February 2012. It was a very short message, and it said book art. And it was written by Federica Chimenti, who used to live here and is a great friend of October Gallery. And she said, this is the link for the exhibition. There are many artists from Korea exhibiting. Our friend is on the very last floor. And the friend turned out to be Jukhee Kwon. And I looked at the link, and the books that Jukhee exhibited were extraordinary. They were very much like what you see behind you. There were a wall of books exploding on the floor, running through the space. It was a delight to see. And of course, we immediately invited her to October Gallery to participate in an exhibition called The World of Extraordinary Objects. And there she was part of that. We later had an exhibition in 2013 where she produced a huge wedding dress in the middle of the room. And also in 2013, we took her to Abu Dhabi, to Manarat al-Sadiyat, where she did a special project, and she had cut up the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, 10 meters tall each strip, and it was hanging in this very tall building. And I can tell you, we know how important it was. One of the biggest rainstorms hit Abu Dhabi one of the nights, and everything fell down. Except Jukhee's book stayed dry in the middle of the space. Encyclopedia Britannica was there. She upheld it. She also had exhibitions at Asia House with Pamela Kember, who was such a great supporter of her work. And she has come back to us with a completely new body of work which has surrealist elements in it. I was sitting up in the room in the back yesterday, and I was trying to see how we could make sense of the chaos of objects that had suddenly appeared here. Little nests that carried books inside themselves, birds that were flying on strings, cascading waterfalls out of crystals. Eventually they all fell in space. But whilst I was sitting there, every time I looked around, there was yet another surreal moment. Somebody was threading black birds behind me. Somebody was trying to stick paper rolls onto the wall. And wherever I moved my head, something else, surreal, unusual, was happening. And I knew Jukhee was back. Thank you, Jukhee. Thank you.
To open the exhibition, I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Charlotte Horlyck. Wait, let me tell you who she is. Curator of Korean art, she was at the Victoria and Albert Museum from 1998 to 2004. And since 2007, she's been reader in the history of Korean art and the head of department at the Center of Korean Studies at SOAS. Not only that, she is a writer. She has written Death, Mourning, and the Afterlife in Korea from ancient to contemporary times. She was co-editor of the book on that. And then author, did I say it right? Author of Korean art from the 19th century to the present.
Thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me to open this exhibition. I'm really delighted to have the chance to see these wonderful works up close, and I very much congratulate Jukhee Kwon and the October Gallery for this very exciting exhibition. I don't know how I can possibly say anything that's as exciting as your wonderful opening speech, but let me share a few thoughts. So, as we already heard, Jukhee exhibited at the October Gallery for the first time in 2013, really at the beginnings of your career, and has since then exhibited really all around the world, in particular including Norway, Germany, Abu Dhabi, Korea. And I think it was in Korea I first saw your works, and I remember really being taken by them. So, of course, as we can all see here, Jukhee's primary material comes from unused and abandoned books, some of which are donated by her friends, others are discarded from libraries, and you pick them up there. And I was also very interested in reading that you found discarded books in the house you're currently living in Rome. So there's really these chance encounters with books that are no longer loved or maybe wanted, and you give them new life in different ways, in different very meaningful ways. And that's also why you'll see that some of the books are indeed Italian due to their earlier life in Rome. So your practice, or Jukhee's practice, draws on complementary ideas of natural life cycles. And I think that's perhaps also why that they really, the works resonate, I think, in many ways, and that they have this wonderful meditative aspect to them. So they really represent these binary forces within nature, I would argue, in terms of abandonment and discovery, destruction in the way that you would destroy, essentially, a book, but also giving it new life, so eventually rebirth of that, as well as an elimination and a reformulation of text and ideas. But I think really first and foremost, the works are about the creation of new stories, ideas and encounters through a revisioning of the old. Or perhaps rather than thinking about them as being something old, it was really something that perhaps was no longer useful to a particular person. And in our earlier discussion today, we really talked about how you give the works a lineage. They already had an earlier life. You pick up on that and you give them a new life in a different time and space. So to me, the exhibited works are also about the opening of new possibilities and avenues of exploration. I'm fascinated by the ways in which the works expand the formal and written boundaries of the book, and in sensory and metaphysical ways present a broadening of ideas, textures, words and sentences. And I think that's really captured in this fantastic work that's really cascading here behind us. That of course a book has a very fixed boundary, but once you open it, that boundary expands in so many different ways, and it takes on a new life amongst different audiences. And I think your work here really captures that. You would never ever think that the pages would be so long when you cut them up like this. And I think that's why, to me, that it's just so inspiring to look at the works like that and to think of these different ways that they link the past and the present So ultimately, as we talked about earlier, as Jukhee is a very keen practitioner of yoga and talks about how that practice gives a sense of expansion. And I think we really see that reflected also in these works here. They're ultimately about an expansion, a pushing of boundaries in different ways. And I really thank you for giving us this opportunity to experience that in such a physical way. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for coming today, everyone. I know it was hard, but thank you. So that's why I thank you so much. And thank you for October family, and thank you for inviting me for the exhibition. And 10 years ago, I did the first exhibition, now the second exhibition. I'm so happy to be able to show also some new work and work again with this October Gallery, which is so professional, and they have a fantastic teamwork. Thank you, all staff. For my work on this Saturday, I will do artist talk, 3 o'clock. So whoever want to know about more my work, please come. Thank you.